the one with fake Monica is one of the funniest episodes of Friends, particularly the first half. I find the first half of this episode, every other line is a joke and it hits the mark every time. Towards the second half, as some of the plot points begin to be fleshed out a little bit more, it gets a little bit more serious, but it's still very entertaining and quite heartfelt as well. This is the 21st episode of the first season of Friends, directed by Gail Mancuso. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. We have our usual brilliant cast, of course. We also have Harry Shearer as Dr. Baldharan and Katie as Marcel the monkey. We also have the brilliant Claudia Shear as fake Monica. And there are so many things in this that I love quoting, and I won't go through them all because nobody wants to hear me do renditions of my favourite Friends quotes for half an hour. But Flameboy is without a doubt one of my favourites. And interestingly, there's an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch where somebody says farm boy in exactly the same accent or same voice and same tone and intonations. It just amuses me so much. We'll deal with the smallest of the three plots. We have the main narrative, the subplot, and then what I'm referring to as the subplot, which is Joey trying to come up with a stage name to make himself sound more sophisticated. I won't give any spoilers in this, by the way. Well, there'll be spoilers for the general episode itself, but I won't spoil how it concludes. So basically, go and watch the episode, then come back just in case I accidentally do spoil anything. But Joey is trying to come up with a stage name. Chandler has some very interesting suggestions, and needless to say, it's very funny. And Joey in this is absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite moments is when he turns around to Chandler. What he says to Chandler after Ross says that Marcel has reached his sexual peak, or sexual maturity, I think is the correct thing. That bit, I just thought it was brilliant. All of the comedy either directed at Joey or coming from Joey, they were all my favourites in this episode. So the subplot I thought was great. The subplot, of course, is Ross realising that he has to give Marcel up. Marcel is now getting very sexual. He's going to become aggressive if he doesn't get to have his way with some lady monkeys. He realises it's time to apply to different zoos, and I love how they're treating zoo applications like university applications. I don't know if that's a thing. Can you apply to have an animal put in a zoo? I'm not sure if that's a thing. Maybe it is, but I found it to be a really entertaining concept. And Marcel is a character I don't like. I've never liked Marcel because I don't like monkeys. I find them quite creepy, to be honest. But this narrative, this subplot, really kind of was quite emotional because Ross is giving up a pet. And if you've ever had a pet, lost a pet, or even thought about losing a pet, it's a very emotional thing. And I found myself getting quite choked up towards the end. It was very moving, and as much as I didn't like Marcel as a character, this would contain spoilers, as I said, as much as I didn't like Marcel, I did find it to be very emotional, and very well done, but not pleasant to watch. I'm pleased to kind of just rip the band-aid off, if you like, with that one. And then, of course, we have our main plot, the titular plot, the fake Monica. Somebody has stolen Monica's credit cards. She decides to go to one of the dance classes where this person is going courtesy of her credit card. And intention is to confront her, but she decides to give herself a fake name. She calls herself Monana and ends up spending time with fake Monica and realising that she's missing out on a lot of life because fake Monica is living life to the fullest, and real Monica gets a flavour of that. And I think it's a nice kind of lesson about living life as if it's the last day. Maybe not stealing somebody's credit card. Life's all about balance. You can have those things, but you also need to go to work, earn money, earn your keep, and enjoy life when you can. And I think that that's a really interesting lesson. And I think it's a really nice treatment of the character, actually. I'm kind of pleased the way that narrative concluded itself, because, again, spoilers, if she had gotten away with it, it wouldn't have been very effective. I'm not saying I wanted her to get caught. It's not a very serious moment when she's caught. She's still quite upbeat, because that's just the kind of charismatic personality that she is. It doesn't really downtone anything, but it wouldn't have worked if she'd gotten away with it, because then the episode would kind of be saying, hey, go and steal somebody's card and live your life. Whereas they're showing Monica, real Monica, having fun, but not stealing somebody's credit card. Yes, she needs to tone it back a bit and go to work, but with balance, you can have it all. And I think it's a really lovely message, and Very entertaining. So I think it's an absolutely brilliant episode. So quotable. I think I counted, I tried to remember to tally up all of the things in this that I think were very quotable, things that I find myself saying on a daily basis, even 20 years after I started watching Friends, or 18 years. But I lost count. I kind of forgot to do it at some point, but it's very, very quotable, very funny. Everybody's on top form. I think everybody gave a great performance. I can't fault it. I think definitely from season 1, the one with the fake Monica is brilliant. It's when it really comes into its own at this stage, really riding high towards the end of this season. The one with the fake Monica is absolutely brilliant.